Okay, now that we're done with that demo, we'll move on to the integration option for Microsoft SharePoint software. Here you find integrated information and advanced sharing. So all the capabilities of SharePoint combined with the capacity of SAP. So here I've just got a basic flow chart just to kind of show the extensive nature from the query account um, throughout the servers and so on. So there's a lot of capabilities here. Support services include SAP Advanced Delivery Management, ASAP methodology for implementation, SAP Landscape Transformation, SAP Test Data Migration Server, Rapid Development, Deployment Solutions, SAP Globalization Services. So all of these services are provided through the website basically to aid in implementation and understanding of SAP and their capabilities and to really get the most out of SAP. Resources here. On the website there are tutorials and webinars which I used for this presentation. They also have really structured training and education including SAP certifications, SAP Learn Now, Learning Software and Services, University Alliance, Student Council, and Course Library. They also have some kind of neat networking and idea sharing capabilities with the Faculty Club, University Research Community, SAP Integration Certification Center, Co-Innovation Lab, and then several events including SAP Partner Edge Interactive, SAP Tech Ed, SAP InnoJam, SAP Code Jam, SAP Inside Track, SAP Forum, and Sapphire Now, where people can get together, share ideas online and in conference form. Any company, any department can use SAP, especially business intelligence. Along their lines of business, they had functions with finance, human resources, IT, manufacturing, marketing, procurement, research and development, engineering, sales, service, supply chain, and sustainability. The specific company that I chose to focus on used SAP business objects for their supply chain. So I'm focusing on Unipart. Unipart is a leading third-party logistics provider and operation consultant in the UK. They have over 10,000 employees and global employees and have generated over $1 billion, well, pounds actually. The business case, the reason why they wanted to use SAP is that they already had the ERP in place and they really noticed that they had some missteps in their supply chain. So they wanted to have something that would be able to manage that and kind of dig deep into their supply chain process and procedure to see what the problem was. So they were able to have a granular look where they were looking really closely at each function all the way up to a wide, broad view of the functions of the supply chain. And from that, they were able to pick out what was the problem. So basically before, a lot of their analysts were spending a lot of time just gathering data. So not only were they able to see the data in a more functional and helpful way, but it also saved a lot of the time. So instead of using all their analysts to gather data and clean up data, they were able to use those analysts to actually analyze the process, analyze what was happening in the supply chain. So they've been very happy with business objects. It's helped them use their analysts better. It's helped the people on the floor work better because they've cleaned up the process for the supply chain. And it's helped them just kind of bump up to the next level and compete in this fast-moving industry, which spans from anything from retail to automotive. Unipart's a pretty expensive company as far as what they're interested in. So evaluations and rankings. I have 4 articles here that I've read that had different things that they thought about SAP, and then I have the next several slides are charts to show kind of what the SAP capabilities are and their weaknesses and strengths. So for Information Week, they ranked SAP as 84 out of 500 in 2012. They based this ranking on an innovative ideas for IT, technology, strategy, investments, administrative practices. Not exactly size, although SAP is pretty large. ZDNet outlines several strengths and weaknesses. They have the largest share of the market, which is a strength to be able to be consistent and a little bit more security, I guess. They have the highest shortlisting rate, the lowest selection rate when shortlisted. They have the longest payback period, so that kind of indicates to me that it's quite a bit of money to invest in SAP, and not the shortest implementation duration. So there was a couple companies they were comparing, and it seems to me that it does take quite a bit of time to implement. So if you're going to use SAP, you need to be really committed, long-term goals, and have the full company behind this implementation. Also, they do not have the best percentage of users who realize 81 to 100% of the capabilities. So it seems to me that SAP is expensive, takes a long time to implement, and most of the users don't know how to use all the functions. So it's almost a little bit too large or maybe even clunky. But from my analysis, my personal analysis, it did seem to be pretty intuitive and helpful because they do have the additions in Microsoft Office, a familiar setting for myself, and they do have a lot of drag and drop capabilities. Through CRM search, they revealed a few more problem areas. For one, their social CRM capabilities are largely weak or absent. Their customer services functionality is best aligned in help desk or light field services, and so it seems that their customer support is not that supportive. Also, the high volume contact centers are underpowered. So a lot of, and you'll see this in my next slide, but it seems like a lot of the customer relations are negative or not super positive. Also, they have weak or not fully supported cloud capabilities. So I read an article where they were really trying to get into the cloud technologies, but had kind of a misstep when they started, and then they didn't throw their full weight behind it, and so it's been kind of a stalled out process. Not really super functional right now, a little bit neutered, but I think that that's something that they realize is important and they're putting time into it, but it's just been a slow start. According to Arabella, which is a company that takes rankings, their own personal rankings and then customer rankings, and kind of comes up with rankings and assessment for buyers, they determined that SAP was par with ease of use, MS Office integration, and retail, and also performance. Not good, not really bad. And then they saw that multi-channel functionality was a negative, and also leverage investment in configuration and customization. So while I personally thought there was a lot of customization, across the board it seems to be a negative. Integration technology, they do have a lot of integration between their systems and with other companies like Microsoft Office, SharePoint capabilities, Excel, things like that. And then purchasing was a positive, although in our previous slide we saw that purchasing, as far as the price-wise, it was kind of expensive investment. So I'm not sure the extent of what these entail, but based on this chart, they're okay. So according to Pintaho, which is one of SAP's competitors, so you do have to take that into account. And this is a vendor survey based on clients and customers, supposedly. SAP is the very bottom ranking on the OLAP analysis vendor and user recommendations. So this is what I was referring to earlier. Users don't seem to like SAP very much, although it is a huge company. So it seems like the people that really do like SAP might not be as vocal as the people that don't like SAP. Also, the OLAP analysis vendor and competitiveness, SAP is up a lot higher. So you see, it's strange that the customers don't seem to like SAP, but then ultimately it's a huge company, a successful company, and it is high up on the competitor list. So it's fourth as far as competitiveness. And the analysis vendor and big data, it's second. So this is where that big company comes to play. So as far as big data needing a lot of money behind it, a lot of capabilities, a lot of storage, things like that, SAP is a forerunner, and that might be the reason why it is so used, because some of those bigger companies with big data have no choice but to use SAP, even if the functionality is a little clunky. So that was my analysis and presentation of SAP services. My first reference page here is all the articles that I read, websites, things like that. And then the second page are the demos. So there's a demo for each one of the functions for business objects that we went over. And these are fully, I believe that all these sites are still live. So if you'd like to use this afterwards, let me know. If anything doesn't function, I can definitely hunt down a new resource for you. Thank you so much.